Welcome to the Frontline Herbalism podcast with your host Nicole Rose from the Solidarity Apothecary. This is your place for all things plants and liberation. Let's get started. Hello, welcome back to the Frontline Herbalism podcast. I'm so sorry I haven't published any episodes in a fair while. Had a little bit of a break after the kind of launching the Herbalism, PTSD and traumatic stress course. And yeah, I'm just in hardcore babyland, really. Lee is 8 months old now and super adorable, but I used to be able to kind of like sneak on my laptop during nap time, and now it's just like impossible. He'll just kind of notice and wake up. So things have changed. But yeah, it's not forever. I know that I will have to go back to work properly at some point. But yeah, I'm loving being able to just kind of look after him full time and give him all the love and nurturance in the world, because this kind of first 3 years of life are really when someone's nervous system is fully developing. So I just, want to make him laugh and make him feel as content as possible for as long as I can. So yeah, anyway, how are you doing? I have got lots of different kind of random bits and bobs to say, I guess, different updates on different projects and Solidarity Apothecary offerings and all the things. So I will just dive in. And yeah, I do hope to return with some more like podcast series soon. I'm going to do a series on herbs for sustaining resistance, like how to kind of like support yourself, as you're engaged in kind of organizing or struggle or just like surviving capitalism in general. I was also going to do a series all about nervines, like in the build up to the next Herbalism, PTSD and traumatic stress course. So anyway, keep posted. I'm going to try and like move things to more herbal content. It's basically impossible to do interviews at the moment, like around Lee's nap time, and not having the sort of childcare infrastructure in place yet. It's just really difficult to schedule anything, even just to do little calls. So I kind of have to seize these little opportunities to like self-record while my mum has Lee. So anyway, I'm just gonna do a bit of a 2024 review. If you didn't know, I kind of do this every year as part of my sort of like planning and design process. I think it's really important because different people kind of donate to the apothecary. I like to share what I've done and like different impact the project has had. And obviously I know it's mostly me, but I just want to emphasize that I'm part of this huge ecosystem of people doing fucking awesome stuff. And, all of the near enough all of the projects are like super collaborative, organizing with other people, whether it's the clinic in Calais or people distributing the prisoners' herbals around the world. Nothing is like a solo effort. Okay, so here is my 2024 review. So the mission of the Solidarity Apothecary is to materially support revolutionary struggles and communities with plant medicines, to strengthen collective autonomy, self-defense and resilience to climate change, capitalism and state violence. Each year I review the work towards this goal. And I'm going to be reading the blog post I've written and then just kind of like ad-libbing here and there, but I'll put a link in the show notes for you. So I wrote, one night during a 4 a.m. breastfeeding session, I came across the poem The Beautiful and the Hard by Jess Ehrlichs on Instagram. Sorry if I've mispronounced your name. The Beautiful and the Hard describe 2024 perfectly to me for so many reasons. Behind the scenes, things went easy. My partner, after 5 years clean, had a major relapse that shook our lives to the core and created emotional and financial instability at a time when I desperately needed both in pregnancy and afterwards. My birth was a traumatic cascade of medical interventions, including preeclampsia, sepsis, and an emergency cesarean, all after the worst hyperemesis that meant I spent 6 months severely dehydrated and violently vomiting. Thank God it shifted a little in the last months of my pregnancy. The hard, however, has been outweighed by the beautiful, and 2024 closes with my family still together, my partner still alive, our beautiful son making us laugh on a daily basis, and a sense of joy and hope amidst what feels like a collapsing world around us of multiple genocides, climate change, rising fascism and state violence. Here are some of the things that went down in 2024. 1, bringing my son into the world. In May, I gave birth to my son Lee. Every day since has been full of joy and delight as I witnessed the magic of him learning and growing and figuring out this whole human thing. I've never experienced a feeling like it, and I'm so grateful that Rob came into my life so that we could create this amazing human together. Alas, being what feels like a full-time anarchist housewife is also tough. I went from an extremely full life of relentless organizing, multiple projects, clients, and international travel to spending most days in our static caravan, breastfeeding and changing nappies. I wouldn't change it for the world, but it's a huge life change and identity shift that I'm riding out. Right now, nurturing Lee is my priority, and this period of time is such a brief moment in the context of my life that I'm trying to focus on cherishing it all without grieving everything I did before. Freedom will creep back slowly, I'm sure. From a herbal learning perspective, I've loved learning about postpartum herbal support, experimenting with blends for myself, and various health needs that surface in pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. And yeah, on the blog, you'll see a cute little picture of me and Lee. So I guess that's another reason why I had a kind of podcast pause, is I kind of like finally got swept up in a bit of baby blues, I think. It's just a lot. Like, it's the best thing in the whole world. And I'm so grateful to have Lee. And, you know, I'm not like a mum living in Gaza, you know, like it's amazing, like in the sense that I have loads of support and privilege and access to resources and all the things, but it's still just so hard. And I feel, it's just difficult. Like, I'm very isolated where I live in the countryside. So anyone wants to visit, you're welcome. And most of my friends have their own stuff going on, whether that's chronic illness or family things, or they don't live nearby. So it's kind of like tender and challenging. And I feel a lot of like questioning of like who I am, what is this life like, because you know the days can be a little bit not monotonous but just repetitive, I guess, but you know I'm also like incredibly happy. And Lee is just like the best human, and it's definitely the best thing I've ever done. It's just so different to my life before, and I think I've tried really hard to like meet other people who have kids and stuff, and have some close friends where that's like really working and is amazing, but it's just different. Like, I don't go to a baby group and I'm not like, hey, how does it feel to know that there's this like ongoing genocide and you can just barely do anything about it because you're just full-time in babyland? Or, you know, I didn't see my friends in prison last year, for example. Like, that was really tough for me. It's just different, but it is really wonderful. And I try and have like a long-term perspective on things of just like this. Okay, I know I'm going to be looking after him for a really long time, but in terms of this like really intense period of like really next to no time for myself, next to no time to work, it's really tiny in the context of my life. You know, it's like 2, 3, 4 years maybe. So I'm just trying to ride it out and do the best I can, working on my phone in the evenings and things, and organizing in the ways I can, and just trying to enjoy it, because everyone I know that has kids is just like, oh, just enjoy it, you know, just like you'll miss it. Like, and I already miss how small he used to be, you know, and how he'd just constantly want to breastfeed, and you know, now he like doesn't need me for a couple of hours, like if he's with someone else. I'm like, oh, okay. So anyway, but it's been a big life-changing year. Okay, number 2, publishing the Herbalism and State Violence book. In March, I finally published the Herbalism and State Violence book. It's an absolute beast at 444 pages and brings together contributions from around the world. The book focuses on state repression, police violence, prisons, the border regime, genocide, occupation, and war, while recognizing there are millions more other forms of state violence shaping people's lives and bodies. From herbal care for handcuff injuries to healing from incarceration, the book looks at herbal solidarity in practice with examples from around the world. Tools are shared for herbal medic responses at demonstrations, protests and uprisings, to practicing herbalism in prison, to herbal support for nightmares, panic attacks and other expressions of distress and trauma. You can learn more here, and I'll put the link, I'll put the link to this page yeah, you can find the book. I'm no longer posting physical copies myself, but I've included a link of where to order a physical copy, and you can get a copy of the ebook on my website as well for £6. And all the income from these books pays for like the Prisoners Herbal books and the other projects. I'm so grateful to my amazing friend Kez Otterleaf, who not only edited the book, but was the best femdom you could ask for in terms of accountability. She's open to supporting other people with their book projects, so make sure you get in touch with her at otterleaf.com. So Kez was just absolute dream. I paid her to help me feel like structure the book and seek, clarify things with contributors. And we did lots of like talking and recording, and her editing the transcripts and kind of like not ghost writing, but just doing a write up that I would then do loads of work on, and then she'd edit it. And yeah, it just was amazing. Like, it just felt so good to work together, and meant that a project that I started in 2020 could like finally get kind of completed, which is what I wanted. Please let me know if you've been, how the book is for you. Okay, herbal care packages is number 3. So one of my goals for 2024 was to systematize my herbal care packages and make them more accessible for folks requesting herbal support. This autumn, I shared a herbal solidarity survey as a way of inviting feedback on what would improve this work. After loads of responses, I think like 60 people replied, which was really fucking wicked. Like, it was so great reading everyone's feedback, like some critical feedback in there. And that was also like very invited. I've been reflecting on that a lot and stuff. I just really appreciate everyone that filled it in. I've effectively redesigned the offerings to make them easier and simpler for people to request, with more specific packages for groups of people that the Solidarity Apothecary serves. So you can find a link to all the herbal care packages available and their request forms. I'll talk about that more in another episode. Being pregnant and then on maternity leave, getting herbal support out to folks was an area of work that was paused for most of the year. However, I had an amazing comrade came to stay who just wants to be anonymous. I can't even tag them in posts, but they've just been absolute legend, like sorting out my herb shed, making loads of medicine, doing loads of bottling and labeling, So it's really easy for me now to just collect the bottles, put them in a box, send them off. That was amazing. Herbal care packages have been distributed, especially this side of the year. To several individuals and groups. This includes people organising for Palestinian liberation, some former prisoners and prisoner family members, a couple of folks stabbing the Bajikal, and some other close comrades. Herbs recently also went to Kurdish freedom movement organisers that have recently been arrested in like a wave of repression by the British state. Defendants received my anti-repression herbal care packages, and the comrades on hunger strike received dried herbs for tea. So I sent them nettle, a nervous system blend, and a gut healing blend for after the strike to help with recovery. Medicines were also donated to Sleek, who I did a podcast interview with before, who are amazing survivors of kind of sexual male violence that organise sort of mutual aid and support for survivors of sexual violence. They're just absolute babes. We made 100 nervous system soother blends, immune tonics, and lavender oils that they distributed in packs for people this kind of around Christmas time. This October, Solidarity Apothecary also supported an amazing human called Elliot and a few volunteers in a collective who, transported and prepared and organised 3,000 bottles of tinctures and teas for nervous system support into Ukraine. And organisation called Insight has been distributing them to kind of queer defenders and disabled elders living in different regions. And we're trying to still raise some money for the endeavour. I put down I paid £300 for van hire to get the medicine in, and then paid £500 for the deposit, which got lost. Something happened to the van. We lost that deposit. So that was pretty brutal. And also, it's a really long story about Ukraine Herbal Solidarity, but we're in a little bit of debt from kind of the previous iteration of the project. So if anyone wants to donate for that, then if you can whack it in the donation page on the Solidarity Apothecary site, I would love you forever. And I could reimburse the person who's owed some money. I did launch a fundraiser earlier in the year with like ACAB t-shirts, and it just like completely flopped. Just like, obviously, I don't know if people don't hate the cops enough or they don't want to wear like an explicitly anti-cop t-shirt like that. But yeah, I've just never known anything like it. It just did so badly. I made like £200 or something, which, you know, isn't anything to sniff at, but I was hoping to raise like a few grand to cover all medicine making costs of the care packages. And yeah, we'll have to go back to the drawing board with that one. But okay, distributing the prisoners' herbals is number 4. So requests for prisoners' herbal books continue to come in week on week. I'm so grateful to the legend that is Ellie. She's oh no, I'm going to get it wrong. Is it Herbal Ellie? Anyway, I'll check what it is on Instagram and plug her another time. But yeah, she took on posting out books to prisoners during my maternity leave, which has been amazing. I've just been like forwarding her emails and she's just been getting them in the post. So that's really exciting. And also the book has now been published in Italian. So there's a blog post about that on my website by the awesome crew that are there. Yeah, and I've also put the ebook to the Spanish translation on the website as well, which is accessible. So yeah, please keep requesting books for prisoners. Whew. Okay, number 5 is the Frontline Herbalism podcast. So the podcast that you're listening to now went from strength to strength this year, but one of my regrets was not timetabling in more interviews before my baby was born. I have got a massive spreadsheet of people to interview, but no idea how to make them happen, with life being totally determined by naps and breastfeeding and not tons of baby care support. So alas, it will be solo shows for the time being until Bubs is a little bit older. So yeah, if you're listening to this, you'll know where to get these episodes, but some of the whole bunch of episodes were published this year, including a whole series of PTSD and herbalism case studies. Let me know, like I haven't had much feedback on them, but let me know if they were useful for you to hear. I also did a series about herbalism, incarceration and abolition, which is available to watch on my website for free. There were also different episodes with articles from the Herbalism and State Violence book, such as herbal support for prison visits and stressful days, herbal allies for grief, healing from incarceration, police raids and herbal allies for shock, and herbal support for nightmares. And yeah, there were also some amazing interviews, including Sleek, who I've mentioned, where we talked about sexual violence and trauma, as well as a kind of second interview that they did with me. But, you know, we were all talking together about how sexual violence intersects with state violence. I also interviewed the amazing Jackie Sumo from the Solitary Gardens project. Please check that out if you haven't. And the awesome Rocks from Movement in Time in Scotland about solidarity medicine making. And of course, beloved Rashika about community herbalism. And Layla about herbalism resistance and remembrance. So yeah, just fucking awesome interviews. Like I said, I've got a whole spreadsheet of people that I would love to interview on the show. I will try and sort it out so I can make it happen. But yeah, let me know if you've been listening to any of them, and please leave a review if you can, if you have been listening to the podcast and enjoying it. All right, and number 6 was herbal solidarity and border violence. So yeah, unfortunately, my pregnancy meant time off from the Mobile Herbal Clinic Calais. I'm working sort of directly in France as a herbalist medic. However, I've done my best to contribute to the behind the scenes efforts in the UK that help keep the project going. So in January, we launched a merchandise fundraiser with the infamous Plants Know No Borders t-shirts that raised £10,000. We had like t-shirts and hoodies and aprons. I did say then that it was the absolute last time we were using the design, and the screen printers chucked the screens. But I get so many messages about them that I am tempted to maybe do it again, just because the project is always in need of funds. But yeah, I'm not going to make any promises. My friend's also done an amazing, gorgeous illustration with like a dandelion and birds coming out of it. So like maybe we'll do like a new and old design at the same time or something. I don't know. So yeah, anyway, I took a bunch of time off the clinic and the project, and then I stepped back in this autumn. Haven't been very consistent at making meetings and things, but I have been doing my best to set up some fundraising infrastructure to allow for monthly donations. So please, I know I'm shooting myself in the foot because I also want people to donate to the Solidarity Apothecary, but like if you could become a monthly supporter of the Mobile Herbal Clinic, I would literally love you forever. Like that is what we need. We need some financial stability to make the projects happen, make the clinics happen very consistently, because it's been difficult. A lot of kind of stop start. So yeah, if you could just donate even a couple of quid a month, that would be amazing. I also pre-recorded a workshop on herbalism and border violence, which was kind of in collaboration with the Railyard Apothecary again, which was a fundraiser, which I will upload on my website soon. So yeah, thank you so much to everyone who signed up to that and donated. And before giving birth, literally like 2 weeks or so before I gave birth, like finally happened. We had to keep rescheduling for various reasons. But I was honoured to work with Solidarity Detainee Support, who used to be SOAS Detainee Support, to develop some training on like abolitionist responses to suicide and distress while working with folks in detention and prisons. So yeah, I do have plans to kind of do like another version of that. Let me know if you'd be interested. Okay, number 7 was relaunching the Herbalism, PTSD and Traumatic Stress course. So the doors opened once again to the course. It was really amazing to welcome more people in. I'm always blown away by the interest and the support. And I'm really grateful to everyone who joined the course. Please join the waiting list if you can, if you're interested in it. And I'll put a link in the show notes to the course. And also, I published a Herbal Support for Panic Attacks guide that you can find on the website as well. Number 8 was teaching medicine making. So another practical medicine making intensive took place in September, and it was just such a joy. It was really hard for me. Like, my partner was in rehab for 6 weeks. I was with the baby. His mum came to look after Lee during the course, but like every single break of the course, I was like running back to the caravan to breastfeed him. And then, went to bed with him at 5 o'clock because we co-sleep. So got him down at 6 and just like slept with him all night and just breastfed through the night, and then woke up and like taught the course for like 3 days in a row. And like, I was so nervous about it, but it did go really well. And like the people that came were just so awesome. Like, it was just an absolute bunch of queer cuties, and like everyone was so lush. And like, I could cry thinking about it. Like, it was just so great. So they're going to take place again in May and June this year. So please join the newsletter, and I'm going to announce when they're ready to book. I just want to kind of tweak some things in the welcome pack and stuff. And on the course we took a deep dive into tincture making, glycerites, ointments, infused oils, and loads of things. And finally, number 9 is mutual aid against genocide and more. So we couldn't talk about 2024 without speaking about the ongoing horrors of the world. While my capacity has shrunk to using my phone during these naps, I've done my best to keep organising the best I can. This includes various fundraisers, such as for the Samir Project, which I think raised like nearly $600, where I was selling my ebooks. I might try and do that again this year. Also, offering various of my digital offerings to different auctions and things. Even though kind of prison visits haven't been possible, I've done my best to kind of amplify action alerts for various friends and comrades inside. Including Farah, who has stage 3 cancer while in prison. I'll put a link to that. Please don't be afraid to reach me on Instagram. Like, I've spent years like building up this like platform, right, on building up my newsletter and everything else. And like, just honestly, like, drop me a direct message if you want me to like repost something or share something in my stories. Like, I just want to use that platform as much as possible for solidarity. Okay, and then the last part of the review is like I do a little kind of goal accountability check-in. So each year I sort of publicly share my goals, and it kind of like helps me stay accountable. These were the ones that were achieved. So to finalize my herbal solidarity care packages and set them up on my website for easier access. So I'll talk about that in the next episode, and continue with this podcast to finish the Herbalism and State Violence book. Woohoo! To support folks to wrap up as many translated versions of my book as possible. Like, obviously I can only do what I can. I'm just kind of have to let the collectives go at their own pace. To redecorate my herb shed and organize my storage, ready to make it into an office too. So I've kind of built more shelving, moved all my like books and stuff down there. So I have done a bit of that, but it still needs a little bit of a kind of makeover. to support the mobile herbal clinic to develop a monthly donation program. So I've done the tech. I just need the people to sign up for it to relaunch the PTSD course, which I did, organize face-to-face medicine making sessions and receive help more. So I've had that in terms of like individual comrades coming to stay. I think I'm still a bit nervy about COVID, if I'm honest. Like, people that will follow me on Instagram saw that basically like Lee was in hospital for a week with a fever, like vomiting, wouldn't breastfeed. Like, it was literally one of the worst weeks of my whole life. Like, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And yeah, he tested positive for COVID. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just frightened. Like, I'm in a bit of a weird anxiety place with him, and yeah. Anyway, that's a whole other podcast, but yeah, I'm just anxious of having a bunch of random people come to my house, especially people locally who don't believe that COVID exists, which is a thing, right? Near Glastonbury and stuff. So yeah, but I have been really grateful to have comrades come down, and I think maybe that's like the way forward. And I know I teach this medicine making course, which is like a face-to-face offering. So maybe I'm a bit of a hypocrite, but like, I've never had anyone get COVID from one of my courses. Like, we've always encouraged people to test. I've always had like a really flexible refund policy of like, if you're sick in any way, just I'll give you a refund. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd much rather lose 200-300 quid than like risk everyone's health, including my babies. So anyway, to enroll in some kind of foot care training. So I've done that. I'm doing like the online version of it on my phone. But I'm enjoying that. I'm only like literally one module in, and then you have to go and do like 2 weeks face to face. So I have no idea how I'm going to do that with the baby, but it'll happen eventually. Other goals, so ongoing goals to continue to invest in my clinical education and learning. So I'm constantly listening to podcasts, watching webinars, doing all the things to continue self-education about different areas of struggle. Yeah, just like, again, podcast reading, talking to friends, all the things. To continue to organise prisoner solidarity and stay involved in my various political collectives through pregnancy and maternity leave the best I can. Definitely trying my hardest with that one. Personal goals, once planning permission is confirmed, support Rob to decorate the static caravan and create the nicest rockabilly love nest ever. So yeah, have achieved that one. Living in a really beautiful mobile home now, and it's got all the cute rockabilly pictures, tattoo art prints framed, checkerboard floor. Yeah, it's really gorgeous. I'm really, really happy in there. To give birth to a healthy, beautiful, amazing human. Tick. I'm just joking. To have a healthy rest of my pregnancy, an empowering birth, and a calm and enjoyable postpartum period. Well, definitely didn't have an empowering birth. And I definitely didn't have a calm postpartum period with Rob's relapse. But hey, he's doing fucking amazing now with recovery and rehab and NA and all the things. And I'm super, super proud of him. To continue to build spiritual skills, to hang out with friends more and make more local friends with babies. Still trying, but I have got a couple of awesome local friends now. Not achieved, so didn't organise a recorded prisoner solidarity training, didn't finish or launch the Do No Harm course, which is like an offering all about clinical safety for grassroots herbalists. It's in process, but not finished. It's something I try and work on my phone every single night when Lee's asleep. And I'm lying next to him. I just try and do like an hour and a half and then go to sleep. I literally go to sleep at like 8 o'clock. It has to happen. To offer one-to-one support via my online clinic. Yeah, just I don't know where I thought I'd have the ability to do that. To enroll in applying functional medicine and clinical practice training. It's like $2,000. It's just not happened. But yeah, again, it's on the wish list. To save up for a trip to Australia and New Zealand to introduce our baby to our family living there. So my stepmom and my brother live in New Zealand. Live in Australia, in Western Australia. So I was really hoping that we could maybe go there, and everyone's like, oh, go when the baby's young, because it's like free. But it's like, wow, how did I think I would travel across the world? Like, I'm insane. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I can barely go to a coffee shop in my local town. So it's just, it's so silly. To get surf practice, that's failed. Don't live anywhere near the sea. I haven't gone on holiday anywhere near the sea. So yeah. Okay. And goals I renegotiated was sorting out some sort of fulfillment center for my books, finishing my endobiogenic medicine diploma. So this is something I enrolled in a few years ago, and then I had to kind of just
cancel it basically because of the pregnancy, but they're happy for me to redo it on the next kind of group, and to explore the possibilities of organising some sort of local herb project. So like I'm really missing that kind of like direct mutual aid, face-to-face stuff. Like, you know, like in Calais, like I'm really good at wound care and organising and working with people directly, and I just hate having to just do everything mediated by like a phone or a laptop, you know. So that, you know, local project hasn't happened, but I also laugh at myself of like how I thought I'd be able to do that. I have no idea. So anyway, it hasn't happened, but I would like to put a call out to the universe that if people are in like Somerset, for example, doing anything, you know, with like unhoused folks or you know, like refugees or asylum seekers, or, you know, people in recovery, things like this, like I would be so happy to just kind of slot in as a herbalist and like support folks. I just, haven't got the kind of energy to organize loads of stuff or initiate things, but I would just love to just kind of be able to like turn up, offer support, offer medicine, hold space for people, you know, like in a kind of like low key way, like a few hours a month or something. So yeah, anyway, wow, this episode has got to half an hour. So I'm going to stop there. That's my kind of like review of the year. I'll put the link in the show notes to all the things. And then I'm going to record an episode with kind of like, some of the goals for 2025 and some of the Solidarity Apothecary offerings that I hope you can check out. Okay, thanks for listening. Take care.
Thanks so much for listening to the Frontline Herbalism podcast. You can find the transcript, the links, all the resources from the show at solidarityapothecary.org/podcast.